Hello, this is Prisma Lopez-Marin here on 18 WJTS with Monday with the Mayor here in Huntingburg with Mayor Denny Spinner. Hello, Mayor.
Hello, welcome back to Huntingburg.
Thank you, Mayor. We want to talk to you about some type of leadership and specifically with our youth of Huntingburg.
Well, one of the things that we, if you remember, I know you did a story on it when we passed it at the council meeting. We approved some funding to create what we're calling the Huntingburg Mayor's Youth Council right now. And I say right now because it's part of the program. We may be changing that name. But what the Mayor's Youth Council was about was really giving the city and myself an opportunity to really enhance how we interact with some of our youth in our community. We look back on our stellar application and what we did to prepare for that. And if there was one gap that we didn't really fill very well was the opportunity to get input from many of our youth. So that was one of the reasons that we were looking forward to this. And we're working with a gentleman named Jim Ditto, who is from a firm called Winning Communities. And these mayor youth councils are things that are happening across the state of Indiana. We began a process working with the assistant principal, Mr. Werner, at Southridge High School. We began a process of developing how do we want to do this. We took applications for a youth council. Each of the students had to write a 250-word essay of what leadership meant to them. So from that, we had 17 applications, which was really tremendous for a first time out. 17 applications. We knew we wanted to have 12 to begin with, so we narrowed it down to 12 candidates, which we had notified that they would have been selected. We notified those who submitted applications that we loved their application, but there's going to be other ways we can get you involved. But regardless, we brought these 12 people together, and last week was our first meeting with this group. We met out at Southridge High School, and we talked about what a youth council is all about. But we were not real specific in a lot of our ideas because we want this to be something that's driven by them. What the agenda will be like, what are the projects we want to look at, will be something that we want the students to kind of lead. Along with that, we'll talk about servant leadership. We'll introduce them to city government. What really does happen in your city? What are the departments that are part of what you do? What are decisions that are made every day by the day-to-day work here? What are decisions the council makes? So we want to get them exposed to how their community works overall. But speaking of the larger group, with these councils across the state, what we're planning for is in sometime in January, after the first of the year, having a summit of youth leadership councils from across the state in Indianapolis, where we'll have speakers such as the head of the Indiana University Leadership Center come in and talk about leadership from their point of view. We're working on commitments from, of course, we're one day before the election. We don't know who our governor will be. There'll be a new governor regardless, but we've already had contact with both gubernatorial candidates that would be something we would hope the governor would be able to come and speak to this group. And it's very, very exciting. And what is, I said something about the change of the name of it. What we did in our first meeting is we handed out descriptions of the offices that will be held: president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, chairs of a couple of committees, and each of the students that are involved are writing letters back to us as why they want to seek one of those offices. In our next meeting, we're going to elect officers and decide if that's the name we want to be. Do we want to be the Mayor's Youth Council, or do we want to be something else? But that's something that they will take a leadership role in and decide what our name is, what our image will be as we move forward to the next months or so. And hopefully, the whole goal of this is at the end is really to get input from them. We are midway through Stellar. We're 2 years into our 4-year commitment. There's still a lot of projects, a lot of information that we need to gather, that having their input on those projects and those ideas as we move forward is very, very important. So our next meeting will be in November. Later this month, and we'll be making some more moves. We've got a 5-member adult advisory board that's coming together this week to meet for the first time to kind of help in being resources to our youth. And we've got 12 outstanding young people that are part of this, freshmen to seniors, a broad range. I think we have 5 young men and 7 young women. So it's just I was very, very energized by the group, and you hear so many things that our youth today aren't engaged and aren't involved and don't want to be part of the community. I was very, very impressed that these young people want to be a part of our community, And the long-term goal of this too, Prisma, is the fact that, we talk about brain drain and why don't we attract or why don't we keep some of our very talented people in our community. Hopefully this will give us a chance to expose them in a greater detail of what does happen in our community, what are the positive things, why our community is such a good community. So when they make that decision, either graduating from high school or graduating from college or coming out of the military, why would they want to come back and be part of Huntingburg and Du Bois County? So that's kind of the, so there's a lot of goals in this, but it's a very exciting group, and I'm looking forward to working with them very much over the next 4 or 5 months.
Well, this is an exciting moment just because, like you said, it is very involving, and you are giving them a lot of liberty to take on a lot of leadership. Why is that so important?
Well, the thing that, one of the things that I read in nearly every application that came in is that we all have leadership ability, it just needs to be developed. And that's what this is really about. I mean, there's some young people in our school you can see out there in every group. There's always those natural leaders, those people that step forward. But there's also some people in our group that are not quite that natural leadership, but have that ability and just need something to spur them on. So that's why I think this whole thing is very important, that we identify not only the natural leaders, but those who have potential to be leaders, and to give them an opportunity to grow and be part of everything. So I know I related a story to them that when I was in college, I was a very average student. I was kind of in the middle of things. I was not a leader. But fortunately, somebody at the university identified me, said, I want you to take a leadership role in this organization. And that's what really made me realize that I had that leadership potential as well. If it wasn't for that individual, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today. So hopefully somebody in that group this year, next year, or will be they'll recognize within themselves that, hey, I have the leadership ability, I have the courage and the ability to do this, and they can become someone who will lead our community in the future.
And as mayor, did you let them know the different types of leadership that there is within the city? I think that's very important. That's
what we're going to be demonstrating to them as we meet along. We'll show them leadership from the elected officials' point of view. We want to expose them to leadership from our superintendents. We have several superintendents that have different leadership styles, and we want to expose them to that. We want to show them leaders from within our community, people who have been in that role from a volunteer basis or from a business leader, and just give them ideas of what it takes to be a leader. But there's no one set way to do it. There's a lot of different opportunities to take that role.
I think this is a very important trait and characteristic for leadership as yourself to take on and do this sort of mentorship, just because it is very essential for the next generation to be part of.
And it's very selfish too. I mean, I get to interact with some great young people in our community, and it's I'm hoping to grow and learn from them as well, as I'm sure I already have. So I'm learning new software. One of the things we're trying to decide is how are we going to all communicate with each other? Well, they use software that I have no idea what it is, so I'm learning new software to try to figure out ways to communicate with them. So it's going to be a learning experience on both sides.
And that's such a great outlook to have, just because it is very hands-on, and is a two-way relationship and sort of mentorship ahead on. And the fact that they want to be engaged and they want to be part of their community's growth is so important. So hopefully that this keeps going.
I'm very excited about it. I think we're going to have a very successful program. It'll be successful because of the young people that we have involved. That's what the bottom line will be.
Well, thank you, Mayor, for letting us know about that, and we look forward to seeing how that continues on. Something looking forward to this week is actually the Christmas Stroll. Can you tell us more about that?
It's a very important week in Huntingburg. This is our Christmas Stroll. As I came into work this morning, I was driving down 4th Street and I saw the utility team out hanging wreaths on the light posts on 4th Street. So Christmas Stroll is this weekend. It's a great weekend to highlight and showcase what our community is all about. Our downtown merchants do a great job of organizing this every year, and so there'll be full activities from Thursday Saturday through Sunday that will want people to come and engage in. And one of those, the kind of the kickoff event, will be the lighting of the Christmas tree. So that will happen here right in front of City Hall. It's in the parking lot right in front of City Hall here on 4th Street. That'll happen at 6:15 is the official lighting time, but people will be gathering before that. We'll have singing and music and Christmas carols, and I think reading. They'll walk down to the library and do some reading, so the library is involved. And it's just a great day to kind of start things off. And then as the week continues, the weekend continues, you'll have all the traditional things that we've had in our Christmas stroll in the past. The celebration singers will be part of it. We'll have carriage rides. We'll have the cookie walk at Old Town Hall. The lantern launch is scheduled to kind of wrap things up on Sunday. And of course, Christmas stroll would not be complete without Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus making appearance. It's the first official appearance of Santa Claus anywhere. So come on down to 4th Street and meet Mr. and Mrs. Claus as they stroll the streets and greet everyone. And I've got to get my list ready so when I meet Santa that I can. Hopefully, I've been nice this year, so I can get a few things on my list. But what a great weekend for Huntingburg. We have such a unique downtown. It's a way to showcase our community, why we're a city like no other, and great work by all those people who pull that together, and just look forward to a great time. There'll be visitors from all across the area coming in, and we want to show them our Hoosier hospitality. And again, I think we talked before, this is kind of the kickoff, a conjunction with Old World Christmas around Du Bois County. We'll be kicking things off here in Huntingburg, followed by Chris Kendallmark in Ferdinand, and then the Old Tannenbaum Days in Jasper will follow. So it's a way for all our community to get together and celebrate the holiday season.
That's really great that everybody has their own section of how Du Bois County celebrates Christmas.
Right. So, and they've all we all benefit from that as well. We know it's cross promoted. I know that for example, last year, past several years, as the Chris Kendallmark happens in Ferdinand, there are buses of people that still come to Huntingburg the next weekend and see our downtown. So there's a lot of cross promotion for each other, and I think, of course, we'll be promoting the other two events here as our visitors come in this weekend. It's an opportunity for all of us to benefit from the great communities we have here in Du Bois County.
I like that. I really do, about everybody's connection in terms of Ferdinand. Like I always say, the three pillars of the community, Huntingburg, Ferdinand, and Jasper working together. And
we have a great relationship, and when all of us, anything positive happens to one of us, it helps all of us. So we're hoping that we will continue that, and this is just a great example of how that works.
Well, Mayor, thank you for letting us know about Huntingburg so far, and I know getting ahead, looking forward towards next year.
Next year.
We got
to get through Thanksgiving first.
That's true. And Christmas.
All right.
We're almost there. Thank you for joining us here on 18 WJTS Monday with the Mayor.